Alrighty, so now let's shift our focus in terms of looking at these free Sunday games that is going to finish off match week number 27. And we start off with the first one between Atlanta United versus DC United, which will start at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff is 4:08 p.m. local time. Atlanta have a 7-9-10 record, while DC have a 6-4-16 record. And unfortunately, this game is going to be on Twitter. And after have to sit through in terms of watching the remaining part of the Minnesota versus Houston game, which I did kind of put it on mute, but even then, I did kind of temptingly just decide to turn off the audio of the game for the last 5 minutes of it. And let's just say that, yeah, that was probably a bad idea, because you know how many times I mentioned how Twitter games are terrible, and that, again, this is also a daily reminder or a weekly reminder that I'm so glad that Apple TV basically is going to be coming in MLS next season, and that hopefully we will not have this situation where there's going to be Twitter games and these Twitter commentators are going to be commenting these games. Though, that being said, coming into this one, in terms of the all-time meeting, it's very close. Atlanta just has the edge over DC with a 7-0-6 record. And the key points coming into this game for Atlanta, it's pretty simple. It's a must-win game for them. Like, if they want to keep any of those fringe playoff hope that they have left this season, they have to win this game against DC United. Though, that being said, for DC, you know, I know even though their season is over, they definitely want nothing but to kind of play that spoiler road. And this is also why I've said before, when you do face against these teams that, even though they are the worst team in the league, as it is the case for DC when Atlanta is facing them, those are always some of the most dangerous teams to face, because they have nothing to lose. They're just going to play the style that they play, and they're going to take the risk, because, you know, if they lose, it really doesn't matter for the rest of the season. And that could be a problem for teams that desperately need a win. So for Atlanta, you know, they can't take DC lightly in this game, and that in some way they got to get 3 points, because if they don't get 3 points in this, you can maybe say that playoff hope that Atlanta United has left is pretty much now diminished. Now, moving on, in the next one, we got Orlando City versus NYCFC, as this game will start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff is 7:55 p.m. local time, because this one is going to be on national television. Like, it seems like this game always tends to be on national television, whether if both of these teams are good or not, or if there's a playoff implication or not in this one, as this game is on FS1. Now, Orlando have a 10-6-10 record, while NYCFC have a 13-5-7 record. And in terms of the all-time meeting, Orlando does have the all-time meeting with an 8-6-6 record over NYCFC. And really the key points coming into this game is that, you know, both of these teams got a much needed win in the last game, and in general for Orlando, these last couple of games, they have definitely ride the ship, because it was looking bleak for this team. Though, that being said, you know, they still have a really tough schedule for the remaining of the season, and this will be one of the tough opponents that they will face. But again, can they continue that strong road form that they had this season? Like, this team, don't get me wrong, this team has been a very underrated road team. Like, this team, a lot of people don't know that Orlando City actually have done very well on the road. It's the home form that has been a problem for this team, and we'll see whether they can fix it in this game against an NYCFC team that, after they got a much-needed win in the last game against the Fire, can they build up that momentum and get themselves back on track, because, you know, they want to get themselves back on track and really get themselves hot right in the time when playoffs begin, because this is kind of the formula they follow last season, where, remember last season, between the month of September and October, NYCFC was just ice cold. They looked like they were collapsing before the playoffs even started, and it seems like their early choking was happening earlier than usual, and then they got hot for the remaining of the season and ride that wave heading into the playoffs. So I guess maybe NYCFC are trying to repeat that formula, but we'll see if they can do so against an Orlando team that, you know, they definitely need a big win, because, you know, they have a tough schedule to finish off their season, and with a lot of teams below them that is really hunting them down for those playoff positions. Yeah, they need to get a big win in this one at home. Speaking of a playoff implication, the next match is definitely one of them, which finish off match week number 27. That is the New England Revolution versus LA Galaxy. This game actually is going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff 8:08 p.m. local time. Like, that is a very late kickoff for a Sunday game, and I'm pretty sure Revs fans are not going to be happy about that, and I won't be surprised the attendance will not be good, because in terms of attendance at Gillette Stadium, they tends to be good on weekends game, but only if it's like a Saturday night game. If it's like a Sunday game, especially like a late night game like that, the attendance does not do well. Though that being said, despite the late start, it is a big game for both of these teams because both of these teams are currently in 8th place in their respective conference, which means that they are the first team out if the playoffs started. But the good news for the Galaxy is that despite the fact that they're 2 points behind the Timbers and have a 10-4-11 record, they have 3 games in hand over the Timbers. So they have plenty of games in hand to play with in terms of overtaking the Timbers in that spot. While for the Revs, they are only 1 point behind Columbus, but Columbus does have 2 games in hand over them. In fact, the next team that they, of course, have even games with them is Inter Miami, and Inter Miami has a 2-game lead over them. So in some way, you would say that, as much as it is a must-win game for both of these teams to get themselves above the red line, it's probably a much more must-win for the New England Revolution compared to the LA Galaxy, because, as much as the Galaxy have sometimes faced some inconsistency, at least they do have some leeway in terms of getting themselves above the red line, whereas for the Refs, they don't have that leeway, and especially with them playing at home in this game, you would expect that this is a game that they need to win to trying to get themselves back above the red line, because again, it just feels like it's that Sisyphus kind of pushing the rock uphill that the New England Revolution has been facing all season, where they just somehow, even when they find themselves above the red line, they find themselves below it immediately, and it feels like that's kind of the same case once again for this team coming into this game. But that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these free games to finish off match week number 27. And as always, let me know in the comments below your prediction for these free games to finish off match week number 27. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. And yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.